Hello, TE831, and welcome back from spring break. This week, week 9, we are thinking about STEM to STEAM, or science, technology, engineering, mathematics, to science, technology, engineering, arts, and arts-based practices in mathematics. And from STEM to STEAM signals a shift in the way we think about technology in the science and mathematics classroom. So here's a quick agenda. We're going to do a small overview of the weekly readings and viewings for week 9 this week. We'll talk briefly about STEM to STEAM. For some of you, this may be old hat. For others, these concepts may be new. So we'll sort of nuance these and begin to explore what we, even if we don't teach the content areas of science and mathematics, what we can learn about the techno-inclusive methods of teaching this type of subject and content matter. Again, we're going to rewind and do a focus on the Remix, Remediate, Reteach assignment. And then I'm sort of going to, based off of what I saw on the Google Drive over this week, I hope to focus on what research says and really sort of provide a push to you all in terms of making sure you have the time to write. 7,000 words is a lot to get out, and it's not something to sort of wait around to the last minute, especially when we're sort of having time to do a peer review and revise. We'll preview week 9 and beyond. This is the sort of impetus to begin teaching what you said you were going to teach or design what you said you were going to design. And then we'll talk about some peripheral next steps looking beyond week 9 into week 10, week 11, and week 12. So what did we do last week? So last week we sort of both on Twitter and in our classroom discussion, focused on understanding the role of technology in the early childhood classroom. For some of us, especially those who teach young fives, shout out to those pre-K teachers, as well as others who may teach primary grades or younger learners, this really sort of helped us do a deep dive into thinking about, well, what does technology actually look like with students who are as young as 5 or as old as 7? The Vasquez book, Technology and Critical Literacy in Early Childhood, we sort of just skimmed, but if you were interested in those chapters, I would definitely think about purchasing the larger text, as it has really great practice-based resources. In the Twitter discussions, I saw a ton of people posting links to apps, techno tools, and mobile applications that allowed us to sort of see the way we could sort of implement some of the things we were talking about in TE831 into our own practice. Kudos, I favorited most of them, but definitely sort of read and enjoyed all of them. This week, in contrast to last week, we really focus on the secondary environment of the science and technology, engineering, and mathematics classroom. We envision and enact the T of technology. This week, because we are focused on secondary science and mathematics, the readings are a little bit dense. You may have to sort of struggle in some ways with your own reading to sort of get the gist of like, well, what does this mean and why is this important? Some of these articles, like the Hudson, Cross, and Rapaki, look at young children's mathematics teaching with an article called Learning to Tinker, and others, especially the Olive, Hoya, Core, and Koshaleva, mathematics knowledge and practices resulting from access to digital technologies, a little more dense. But these will definitely help augment those literature reviews for those of you who teach science and mathematics. So from STEM to STEAM, or exploring the T of technology, some of the guiding questions I want us to ask this week that are all inclusive of no matter the subject matter or content you teach is, how do we use technology? And this, what I mean by this is, are we using it simply as an instrumentalist tool and approach, or are we really mediating learning outcomes for students? On the right-hand side, you can sort of see a beautiful design that was created thinking about STEM to STEAM that the University of Florida posited as a way to sort of think about what is the perception of technology in these two paradigms. This is also on our course wiki site. You probably could see it better there. But here are some of the guiding questions I want to ask for the week. What role does technology play in your own classroom instruction and in the Remix Remediate assignment? Are you using technology in an instrumentalist way? That is, are you simply using technology as a hook, like the Bailey piece we read in the English Language Arts Week? Or are you using it to really change learning for students? For some of us, the instrumentalist approach may be that in which we sort of see most worthy in terms of time. We want to sort of change students' interest or motivation, so we bring out an iPad or we think of a mobile app. But in the broader sort of spectrum of educational technology, we really want to think about technology as remediating the learning that students are being a part of. My second question this week focuses on the readings for the week. How does the use of technology in STEM remix your own understanding of techno teaching? So, in some of these sort of simulation and project based learning operations that you'll sort of see in the articles and readings, it's very different than sort of simply using technology as a way to sort of remediate a sort of expository essay or remix the participation strategies of a book club. The last one sort of follows and partner with that second question, and it asks, how does simulation and project-based learning in STEM influence your own understanding of techno teaching? So for those of you who do teach Young Fives, or those of you who teach secondary English, how does reading about techno teaching in the science and mathematics classroom change your own perceptions of learning? Because, as we sort of know, that we are teachers of the whole child, and I'm someone who's very interdisciplinary in the way I think about teaching with technology. In looking ahead, I want to sort of again stress the need to have an appendix for your case study. And in thinking about the Google Drive and some of the comments I made on the papers thus far, I want to sort of break apart what I mean by remix and remediate. If you're remixing something, you're simply thinking about a particular unit or instructional outcome that you've already taught. Perhaps you were teaching students how to create an informational text or an how-to, and in November, prior to 831, you had students do this with paper and pen, or a pen and pencil, pen and paper. In remixing it, you may think about the affordances of technology in remixing that learning outcome of an informational how-to essay. So you're using technology to remix something or of particular essence of a product. In Remediate, you're using technology to really change the environment of learning and to think about the ways in which participations of learning change through the use of technology. So, again, here are the three questions I want us to ask in thinking about the Remix and Remediate assignment. If you're repurposing and or remixing a lesson plan, you do need to include a before and after version with the techno-inclusive changes highlighted. I want to see the unit plan that you did prior to the techno-infused unit plan that you created. This will just allow me to sort of grapple with the types of techno teaching you were thinking about in enacting. If you're remixing a project here in question 2, please include a version from either previous students and or sections. I would love to see the paper-based piece of writing in addition to the new technological-based product or project. And 3, identify whether the site tool or platform is remixing or remediating. For some of you, you've already highlighted this in your Google Drive in the case study. For others, you sort of said, Wargo, I'm not really sure what this is. And hopefully my comments help sort of stir you up in thinking about that. And looking ahead, as we sort of think about the tenets or the central parts of the Google Drive, I want you to think about this literature review part because it did seem a sort of sparse across the TE831 student drive. And in week 10, which is next week, you'll actually have the opportunity to choose and share 3 free choice articles that you are going to choose as part of your own sort of investigative teacher researcher stance in terms of thinking about, well, what does research say about my actual problem of practice? So this also encourages you to sort of use the MSU library system, which you all sort of have access to, look at journals that are popular in your field and are popular in the teaching of technology, and say, what does research say about this problem of practice? And this sort of, can go all the way from, I know many of you are thinking about changing participation structures by using blogs or Poplets, to those of you who are thinking about how do I remix an arts-based project with my students and thinking about the way mode or medium changes when using technology. This will really help augment that literature review part. In addition, I want you to think about what does literature say about teaching with technology in your subject matter, because that you should be able to get from our TE831 course as we do this sort of stop and drop in each individual content matter and subject area. In addition, next week you'll sort of share out in a Twitter discussion at your own time and convenience what you were learning from the 3 free choice articles. What did you gain from this process of investigating what research says, and are there any questions or confusions you may have? We will also be sticking with Beach and thinking about what does he sort of say in terms of activity-based approaches to digital texts. In looking ahead at the Google Drive this week, you'll notice that I left comments on your Remix Remediate assignment. Many of these comments aren't necessarily exhaustive or inclusive of what you wrote, but rather probing questions to help you continue to write. As we preview week 11, week 12, and week 13, you'll sort of see that, I'm giving you a writing week. Hopefully, this writing week falls on your spring break, so you feel like you have the time and the pleasure to sort of write at your own convenience. But after that writing week, you'll see that we go into peer review, and peer review is only as successful as the level of draft you have completed at that time. If you have any questions about my comments, please resolve them with me. You can do this by emailing me directly at wargojohn@msu.edu. In addition, I'd just like to say that today when I logged onto the wiki and posted the week 9 opener, I was sort of a little taken aback because I wasn't getting messages from the wiki, and I saw 4 people wrote me messages in the past week or so that I hadn't been attending to, and I just want to apologize. And again, make sure that you're emailing me directly at wargojohn@msu.edu, as that is the email that truly is on and buzzing all of the time. I will respond to you very quickly on that. In the wiki, it takes me a while, so I apologize. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at wargojohn@msu.edu. Follow me or direct tweet me at wargojohn on Twitter. And as always, I hope you are having a wonderful time exploring, playing, designing, and making with your students. TE 831 is only as successful as you truly make it in terms of thinking, what are we doing in this online course, and how can I enact some of these strategies, tools, apps, etc. into classroom practice? Again, any questions or confusions, please email me directly, as I really want everyone to feel successful as you do this Remix Remediate assignment. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.